Hi everyone, it is time for us to start our new book. It's called Thanksgiving on Thursday. Chapter 1. What feast? Come on, said Annie. She stood in the doorway to Jack's bedroom. Let's check the woods. But it's Thursday, said Jack. We're going to grandmother's soon. I know, said Annie, but I have a feeling the magic treehouse might be back. I think Morgan might have sent us a new rhyme. Jack trusted Annie's feelings. Okay, but we'll have to be quick, he said. He threw his notebook and pencil into his backpack. He followed her downstairs. Be back soon, Jack called to their parents. Very soon, their dad said. Don't forget, it's Thursday, said their mom. We're leaving for grandmother's at 9. I know, said Jack. We'll be back in 10 minutes, said Annie. They hurried out of their house. They ran across their yard and up their street and into the Frog Creek woods. Jack and Annie ran through the light and shadow until they stopped under the tallest oak. Yay, said Annie. You were right, said Jack. High in the tree was the magic treehouse. Jack grabbed the rope ladder and started up. Annie was right behind him. They climbed into the treehouse. Sunlight slanted in through the window. Good. Our gifts from our last trips are still here, said Annie. She pointed to the scrolls from Shakespeare's theater and the twig from the gorillas. Proof we found the magic of the theater and the magic of animals, said Jack. Look, said Annie. She pointed to a book lying in a dark corner. A piece of paper was sticking out of it. Jack pulled out the paper. It's from Morgan, he said. He read, Dear Jack and Annie, good luck on your third journey to find a special magic. This rhyme will guide you. To find a special magic when work and toil are done, gather all together, turn 3 worlds into 1. Thank you, Morgan. So who do we gather with? Wondered Jack. Annie held up the book. The painting on the cover showed a basket of corn on a wooden table. The title said, A Feast to Remember. We gather at a feast, she said. She pointed to the cover. I wish we could go there. Hold on, said Jack. What kind of feast? Where and when? But the wind had started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. And then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 2 is called Shh. Jack opened his eyes. Bright golden sunlight poured out into the treehouse. The air felt crisp and cool. Annie was wearing a long dress, a white cap, and an apron. Jack wore a jacket with a frilly collar. He wore short pants, long socks, leather shoes, and a hat. His backpack was now a leather bag. I like your hat, said Annie. It's funny. Yours too, said Jack. You look like a pilgrim, said Annie. So do you, said Jack. Ah, man, I bet we're in the time of the pilgrims. He and Annie scrambled to the window. The treehouse had landed in a tall oak near the edge of the forest. Red and yellow leaves rattled in the cool breeze. Past the forest was a small village, and past the village was the ocean. It looks like where the pilgrims lived, said Jack. We studied it in school. He opened the research book and found a picture of the village by the sea. He read aloud. In 1620, a group of 102 passengers sailed from England to America on a ship called the Mayflower. Many of the people on board wanted freedom of religion. They wanted to worship God in their own way and the way the King of England made them. Not the way the King of England made them. Others wanted to find a new life in a new land. Today, we call the people who sailed on the Mayflower pilgrims. Yes, said Annie. Jack read on. The pilgrims wanted to settle near New York, but a storm blew their ship north. They landed in a bay on the coast of what is now Massachusetts. 6 years before, Captain John Smith had explored the coast. He had named the bay Plymouth. And we talked a little bit about this when we celebrated Thanksgiving earlier this year. Plymouth, said Annie. That's where the first Thanksgiving was? Oh, man, Jack smiled. So that's the feast. Wow, said Annie. My class put on a play about the first Thanksgiving. Mine too, said Jack. I played Priscilla, said Annie. I played a turkey, said Jack. Now we'll get to meet the real Priscilla, said Annie. And Squanto and Governor Bradford and Miles Standish. Come on. She started down the ladder. Wait. What will we say? Asked Jack. Well, we'll just say hi and stuff, said Annie. Are you nuts? Said Jack. He put the book into his bag. They won't understand who we are. We need a plan. He slung the bag over his shoulder and hurried down the ladder after Annie. Listen, we need, I know, a plan, said Annie. But first, let's get closer to the village and just watch. Okay, said Jack, but we can't let anyone see us. We have to be careful and quiet. Annie doesn't do very well with that, does she? He and Annie started walking carefully through the woods, but they did not walk quietly. The autumn leaves crunched and crackled under their leather shoes. Shh, said Jack. I can't help it, said Annie. You're doing it too. Then we have to stop, said Jack. Let's get behind that tree and just watch from there. They crouched over to a tree at the edge of the woods. In the distance was a row of small log houses with steep, thatched roofs. Jack pulled out the book. He found the part about the village. Then he pushed his glasses up and read to himself. The Pilgrims brought chicken, geese, goats, and sheep from England. They brought seeds to plant, and they knew how to make traps to catch wild animals for food, but they could not have survived without the help of a Wampanoag Indian named Squanto. Squanto taught them how to grow corn. Hi, you, Annie whispered. Jack looked up. Annie was talking to a skinny yellow dog. The dog was sniffing a tree near them. Don't let him see us, Jack whispered. Why? Said Annie. The dog looked at them and barked. That's why, said Jack. The skinny dog barked again and again. 2 Pilgrim men ran from the other side of the houses. Then more pilgrims appeared. They all looked in the direction of the barking dog. Oh no, said Jack. Let's go back. We don't have a plan yet. He packed up his book and started away from the tree. Suddenly, something tightened around his ankle. A tree branch snapped. Ah! Jack shouted as he was jerked up into the air. I'll see you tomorrow.